lights, right? Basically a green light on Texas cats. It was kind of a paraphrase from California, because the homie Breedog came down here out of consideration and concern, and out of love and respect. Because there's been somebody who's been allowed to rant and rave, and for whatever reasons, nobody's addressed the dude. I don't know. So I'm not going to tiptoe about anything, but I'm talking to the infamous, famous police informant, federal informant, whatever you are, dissenter Charleston White. Charleston White, who says that he wants all the smoke and don't want no smoke and no trouble at all. Me and Charleston have a different background, and I'm not going to sit here. This is not about bashing anybody, because I'm not about divisiveness. And it's sad that I'm even addressing this issue, because, when gnats, when gnats be flying around you all the time, how you get annoyed from them, but they be these little bitty things, but they make the biggest annoyance. First of all, I salute anybody who gets a platform, man. And I love to see people come from a lesser state to a greater state. I'm not willing to compromise my integrity. I'm not willing to do buffoonery and jump on the stage and shuck and jive to get views and get paid. No, because I got to live with me at the end of the day. And so let me bring this connection together. The brother, gave me a hypothetical, basically, about, because, those of us who really were in the streets understand how serious it is in the states, the feds, and in the country when it comes to people who are affiliated with tribes. I don't utilize the term gang. Those are for, individuals. That term is for individuals who really truthfully don't understand how deep, how complex it is as far as us as African people. So the conversation was brought up about Charleston White, and how he speaks and represents those of us in Fort Worth and Texas. And I said, no, Charleston don't represent not nobody real. Now, for people who like to see clown shows, and this is, I say that the brother Kevin Gates addressed it the best, man. If I respond to a clown, then I become a part of the circus. And so this is why, it's not because of what Kevin said. That was just another hum to the lie, because I've been trying to keep the gnats out my face, because we out here real building, man. We out here really trying to get kids off the streets. We out here really in the streets trying to keep these guns from popping and killing the other individuals. And so I'm having to address this issue. I'm a little under the weather right now, but I have to address this issue because the homies called me, and it was like, a little homies from Texas is in California. And because this cat down here who went live or something the other day for his views, of course, and said, fuck slobs and fuck bloods and fuck all the Crips and fuck you crabs and fuck you rolling 60 niggas and fuck Nipsey Hussle and fuck this and that, and excuse the language. But see, this is what I mean about people who don't understand real gang culture or real tribal culture. First of all, no matter how much you've elevated, or no matter how much you've aware of maybe the destruction that you participated in when you was in the streets, even if you were in a tribe, and let's say you're a banker now, let's say you're doing something, you're teaching kids now, let's say that you're a scientist, let's say that you're doing something, teaching astrology or somewhere else, or whatever it may be. If you really truthfully came from the streets, then you would never ever, forget where it is that you come from, right? Because those of us who are truthfully off in the streets, we understand that had it not been for somebody who didn't give up on us, we probably would have failed, been in penitentiary for the rest of our lives, or died. I was fortunate enough to go through a lot of things. I'm not going to get into all that. We can talk about my own story. If you want to hear my life story, then, get on here when I'm talking about my life story. But this is about a situation that's serious and that needs to be addressed. Number one, I don't know how this buffoon has been able, I do know. Bro, you work for them people. You've been paid by the Republican Party to create dissension in the black community since I've known you. You tried to recruit me to be a part of your black Republican, buffoonery. When you asked me to come over there and be an executive director over there at you asked me to come be an executive director at your program. When you told me, man, I got all these white folks, but you ain't got no programs, and I gave you the programs. You wasn't even talking about gangs until you read my book chronicle, until I gave you a copy of my book, Chronicles and Memoirs of an Original Gangster, and I allowed you to use my programs, because at the time I saw you as somebody who had access to the very vulnerable minds of our youth. And so anybody who's in front of our youth that can give them some information, a good word, I support that all day. So let's not make this about that. And so anybody who you have given some information to that has used it to better themselves, I salute, you know what I'm saying, salute them and salute you on the efforts for that. But I'm not going to sit here and co-sign. I don't know what's going on with the homies in Fort Worth. I don't, you know, back in the game, we had a sense of etiquettes and principles with each other. We had a sense of loyalty with each other. There was a different code that came with each other. And I'm going to explain why I'm saying this and why I'm going on live with this in the first place. Back in the day, the etiquettes that we came from, bro, you see me, the etiquettes that we came from back in the day, they were, if you fell out with one of my partners, then you fell out with me. And the reason being is because it was serious in the streets. I couldn't ride around. My partner couldn't be riding around, and the dude that's enemies with my partner is cool with you. We riding around in the car with each other. I don't know if y'all plotting on me. I don't know what's going on. There was just certain etiquettes and principles of things that we did and didn't do. Today's term, it's not like that. It's not like that. You know, dudes kick it with the enemies of your friends and all this and other stuff, and it's cool. That's your business. I'm not here to try to teach you etiquettes and principles of the streets. I'm just saying we were different back in the day. So I don't understand why nobody's addressing this issue, because you've been allowed to be very disrespectful to a lot of people, man. You've disrespected a lot of people who can't even rightfully speak back for themselves. And I think that most of the times, I believe that most of the people don't want to talk to you because you're an articulate dude. You know how to, conversate. You got some real eloquent, you're loquacious. You got a lot of, you got a gift to gab, but you got the right one. You can meet me at any time, any place. If you want to get up on the podium, you want to conversate, you want to speak about some things. Because see, one of the things about me is that you understand is that I'm solid all the way down to the bone, bro. To the bottom of my feet, to the top of my head. All my paperwork is great. I'm impeccable when it comes to character. Everybody from the feds, penitentiary, state, TYC, TDC, and on know that I'm good people. And my record speaks for itself in the streets. And now you're going to have individuals like those little gnats that are dissenters who are sent into our communities to create dissension amongst other individuals who going to say this and say that. That's what their job is. They're paid to be dissenters, just like you. You know, when you get up on live or you get up on a post and you tell a dude, oh, you in my inbox? This is what you did. You in my inbox? Is that a picture of a gun? Ain't you on parole? Let me contact your parole officer. And dudes who call themselves supposed to be stand-up people support mess like that. See, we're living in a space and time where, education and consciousness is on the rise. So some of y'all feel like it's an opportunity to go ahead and bash individuals who lost their way, right? Because we want to knock ignorance out. We want to bring about a different state of consciousness. But see, I come from the ignorant. I come from the mud, from the worst of the worst. And see, I'm not going to sit here and tolerate you individuals who, because when things were real, you were quiet. Because when the streets was real out there, you didn't step off the porch or you followed behind real dudes. Well, now, things have changed. Times have changed. Most of the real dudes and solid dudes are not in position any longer. A lot of them lost their way in prisons for a long time or dead. So consciousness is on the rise, and that's a beautiful thing. And so you see that it's an opportunity to go kick, the older dudes, or kick the dudes who was off inside nonsense. And back in those times, you see it as an opportunity to go kick individuals who were in the game back in the day. Because back in the day, you was quiet as a church house mouse when things were real. See, but I come from amongst that mud. So I'm not going to allow you individuals. I'm going to stand on the front line for all the brothers and sisters, Crips and Bloods, a lot of my Damu homies, brothers and sisters, GDs, Vice Lords, and folks, because I don't see it as gangs, they're tribes. It's just like Mandinka, Ashanti, Fulani, all different types of tribes that we come from back in the day. We're tribal people by nature, but this is to address you confidential informant, dissenter, police, Charleston White. You do not represent real people from Fort Worth. And I got to say this for my homeboy Gun One. I got to say this for my partner Low D. I got to say this for my real partners out there in the streets, man, that I stomped down with, the homies that's in they, that died, that's in their graves all across America, from California to New York to Chicago down to Texas. Charleston White does not speak for those of us who are sincere and real in Fort Worth. Now, he has a platform because a lot of people like to get entertained. A lot of people like to see clowns. And, and just like Kevin Gates said the other day, when I entertain a clown, I become a part of the circus. So I'm not speaking this to entertain him. I'm speaking this to address something, because I need y'all to understand. When the homie Brad Dog from Carver Park, Compton Crips, and them came down here to address a matter about this dude saying, fuck the Crips, fuck the Bloods, fuck the Crabs, fuck you Slobs, fuck Nipsey Hussle, fuck Rolling 60s. You are putting dudes, because nobody in Fort Worth is saying anything. Nobody in Texas is saying anything about this dude. Y'all are putting us in danger in California, talking about you California niggas can't come down here. You act like you starting a war representing something from the streets, and you ain't even from us. And you creating wars between black people and black communities when we already are in a state of emergency, and we already have things that are taking place in our communities that are coming at us at all angles. But because y'all like to see a clown show, until y'all get to California, you on vacation. Until you get out there and you on vacation and something happens, and one of them dudes that this dude then said, fuck y'all, woo, 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 rolls up on you and say, where you from, homie? He said, oh man, I don't bang. And this is the scenario the brother painted to me. When one of those children are out there on vacation and one of the youngsters pull up and talking about, yeah, you from Texas, homie? Ain't it fuck? Y'all ain't saying that, and they get killed. And then you say, oh, that's some ignorant ass niggas. No, ignorance is when we are already in the middle of a fire, when we already are inside a house that's burning down, for us to have somebody with a clown suit on pouring gasoline around the house and pouring gasoline around the house that we already in is burning down. See, here's what I'm going to say. And I want you to understand something. And you can come see me at any time. And I don't care about you calling the feds on me. I don't care about you calling the police on me like you say that you're going to do. See, this is the same thing that they did with you. And any of you educated brothers or any of you educated sisters, understand, when we have the biggest problem in our community are these confidential informants that's riding around in our community posing like they gangsters, riding around in our community posing like they educators, riding around in our community amongst us. Just because they got the same skin don't mean they're in the same kin as we in. That's some of our biggest problems, is the infiltrators that keep us divided amongst ourselves, who don't allow us to unify with each other because they're always in somebody's ear with this or that and things. Man, I'm not, you can talk about me till Texas turns all the way blue. I'm not tripping about none of that, man. I serve a creator that, man, you a gnat in my ear. I'm addressing this because when homies come from California down here, because you are creating a climate that's going to become dangerous for our children and dangerous for our sisters and dangerous for our families when they go visit California because of your mouth, then you best believe I'm going to address it if ain't nobody else going to say nothing. So let me go ahead and let me address a few things to get a full understanding about this, so that y'all won't try to take my words and misconstrue what it is that I'm saying. Let me explain. Charleston, you were not talking about gangs at all when I joined Hyped About Hype as one of your executive directors. You were not talking about gangs. Your claim to fame, how you trick them people into believing, because you're supposed to be articulate, your tongue is supposed to be good, you're supposed to speak well, things of such. And like I said, anybody who has benefited from your association, any kid that has benefited, anybody you've helped, man, I salute you for that. But let me address something, because you don't have any type of credibility. First of all, when you say you used to be Rolling 60s, who put you down? And whoever put you down with Rolling 60s, who put them down? See, there has to be a lineage check if you for real about this tribalism. And you just been able to jump off the porch. It's just like most of you people, when I call the gang truce here in Fort Worth, and you can't call no gang truce. You cannot call a truce amongst different sets unless people in the different sets respect you from the street in the first place. So let's get that understood. When I call a gang truce, a lot of y'all started to claim, because it was safe to claim then. And this is not about being no gangster. This is about the state of emergency that's taking place in our black communities and the black men and black women who need to be standing up, lined up, unified as one wall with each other, trying to help each other out to try to change the condition and get our kids off the street and start to bring some type of economical stability in our neighborhoods. That's what this is about. But when we have somebody who is counterproductive just because he can speak good, dude, you sitting out there pulling your piece all out in the cameras, and you're a clown. And I hate to have to address that, but when homies come all the way from California to come in, conflict from happening between California and Texas behind your mouth when you do not represent us in the first place, let me go back to what I'm addressing. I met you at Donuts for Dad at Dunbar. You heard me speak. You pulled me to the table. You said, bro, I got all these white folks. Man, but I ain't got no programs. I said, I got plenty of programs. Remember the conversation, bro? Do you remember when you start paraphrasing, when you start, what do they call it? Plagiarism is what they said is the rawest form of flattery. Where I come from, it's called stealing. When you start stealing my speeches and going to different places and growing dreadlocks like a brother. When you seen that I was going through something because you was an informant, going back and telling them people everything that I was talking about. I think you part and partial to probably that plan, but I won't go into that because this is not about me. This is about our communities, our safety, our unity, our people, all those brothers and sisters who have died in the game because they lost their way based on a drug trade that was pushed into our communities, not by us. We became participants of the game. Yeah, I accept full responsibility for everything that I've done, and I apologize to any family that I participate in hurting. And I know there's a lot of apologies that need to go around. But we're trying to self-correct ourselves now. We're trying to educate our people right now. We're trying to stop the violence, cease the violence, educate people, bring educators and individuals who are educated from a different type of education together alike to try to solve the problem in the black communities. In other communities, if God see fit to. But right now, we got to start with our own backyard. So when you met me and I gave you my book and I gave you my programs, Transitional Point, the Ruby program, Resurrecting, Unifying, and Healing Broken Youth, and you utilized that to create your gang program, because that's what you use to create your gang program. When you utilize that information, I wasn't tripping about that until I pulled up with Jesse that time when we was at the one school that you sent us to a different location and you were saying my speeches verbatim. That's when I said I'm going to leave you alone before I ended up breaking your jaw. Excuse me because I didn't, and forgive me for that. I'm not hostile. I'm not into no violence. That was back then. That was 5-6 years ago. I left you alone went about my business. And you was quiet as a church house mouse then when you was bumping into people. But when you seen that the feds got on my bumper and I got sent back up because I was using drugs, because I have an addictive personality. I utilize drugs. There's a lot of us who've used drugs, brother. There's a lot of us who've been through things that God has allowed us to get from. And I thank God for my experiences. So I'm not going to get on that. But bruh, it never made any sense to me when you told me what your claim to fame or what everybody thinks your claim. I'm one of the 5 first individuals that was incarcerated for murder. And I was murdered. I was tried, one of the first 5 individuals as a teenager that was tried as an adult and sent off inside the TYC system in the penal code because of a murder case. You ain't the one that killed that man. And it was an accidental murder. It was 5 of y'all. And y'all was robbing one man for a starter jacket. Man, don't you know we was knee deep at the time in aggravated robberies, robbing armored truck banks and hitting frontline licks and going up inside trap houses at the time when you was talking about 5 of y'all robbed one man for a starter jacket? What was y'all gonna do with the starter jacket? You was gonna wear it on Monday, the other homie was gonna wear it on Tuesday, the other homie was on Wednesday, then he was gonna, I don't even understand the logic of that. But because you was able to articulate it so quick and put the murder in there real quick and keep saying murder, and everybody got caught up with the but you ain't the person that killed that man. They got locked up because of something stupid one person did. But you got everybody convicted that you was some type of murderer. Homie, man, you soft as wet toilet paper. But I'm not here to talk about you in that sense. It just doesn't make any sense outside of those who like buffoonery and also those individuals who like mess. But homie, you starting to put us and our people in danger. You starting to put our kids and our families in danger with your mouth. Because you disrespecting people all across the country that you don't even know, and you don't even have no credibility to even be talking from the position that you're talking from, other than a safe place. Because that's what we call protection in the penitentiary. Everybody who's been in and out of a joint really understands that a person really don't want no smoke if you wait for the law to come and you start talking tough to somebody when the law come in the room. See, that's what you do when you get on Facebook. That's what you do when you get on these social platforms and you call people out by their first name. I'm not calling you out in the sense of violence because I know you don't want none of the smoke. I know you probably want some of this vape, but you don't want no smoke. And the reason why I'm saying that, bro, is it's sad that you was as intelligent as a brother that you are, as intelligent as you are, for you to be such a clown and to be such a Toby and to be so, all you dudes out there who have this intelligence, who feel like it's quick and easy to slander your people and talk down to your people, to talk up on yourself. We called it dirty macking back in the game. When you got to go talk down on somebody. You got to be out your mind, but you do not represent, and I'm telling all the homies in Cali, Chi-Town, New York, all over the country, this dude, Charleston Weiss, is an imposter. Don't none of the people that I understand, and I know the dudes who brought 60s down here. Don't none of the people that I know them. They ain't put them down with nothing. So all your credibility, now it's easy for, and this is what I mean for all you dudes. You know, it's just like when you go to prison and you see one of them guards off inside prison. Yeah, COVID is rising and all. You see when guards put you up and bullied, and now you in prison, and man, they feel like, oh yeah, I get my revenge. That's what you like. You're like one of those guards who was bullied off inside school. Now you done got you, the police and everybody else behind you. You feel like you got a platform, so you want to kick the dudes that was paying dues. Now I'm not going to sit here and condone a lot of nonsense in the streets. But the reason a lot of the nonsense is going in the streets is because the individuals who did have any etiquettes and principles were either incarcerated or they came back out trying to catch back up. And so I don't salute none of the nonsense. I do, however, salute individuals that come from amongst the mud who live and stand tall by their principles. Because I don't believe in the stuff that's going on in the streets. But if you accept the consequences of your actions, then I can't do nothing but salute you. If you live by the principles and etiquettes of what the game is, and you get knocked and go to jail and you take your time, I can't do nothing but salute you, because at least you're accepting the consequences of your action. So let me explain to y'all what the definition of snitching is. Okay? Tax-paying citizens who have no involvement in the streets, right? Who ain't running around with cameras trying to be off inside people's businesses, stirring up fires because they know that it's going to sell, doing a whole bunch of buffoonery. I'm talking about regular tax-paying citizens who are going to jail, who are going to work every day, working every day, and things that are such. Those taxpayer citizens see something happening outside, they call the police. Once they call the police are being paid from their tax salaries. That's not snitching. I don't know who's educated you brothers and sisters to what the game is, but I need to explain to you what snitching is. Snitching is that dude that's in the car with you right now, and y'all riding around, you know, selling, slanging, doing whatever you do, doing something that's under a legal lifestyle. Snitching is the individual, when he gets popped, he don't want to go down for what he got to do, so he starts telling on everybody else. Let me repeat that to you. A tax-paying citizen who's going to work every day, who has nothing to do with the streets, ain't speaking about the streets, sees a crime outside their house and they call the police, that is not snitching. They're civilians. They're not enlisted in the game in the streets. The etiquettes and the principles that y'all are talking about, it's all upside down, because you've had a lot of old dudes, when they put the 400-man indictment, I don't know what happened in y'all cities, I'm telling you about what happened here in Fort Worth. A lot of the old dudes who were our age, went to school with us, after that 400-man indictment hit Fort Worth and they picked up all the day one dudes from almost every side of town, you had dudes who went to school with us at our age, who had never been caught, never been broke a crime in their life, who stepped in, and y'all know some of y'all dudes, man, who been caught in big work and got a pat on the back. You know, some of you dudes who quit to act like y'all was really doing things out there in the street, and you got popped and now you on some other time, and you dudes know that y'all went in there and told something. See, I respect the dudes who, when you do wrong, you accept the consequences of your actions. So, no longer talking about the circus show. Understand that brothers like Nipsey Hussle, who I honor the marathon, was not only educating brothers, but he was putting brothers to work, and sisters. He was hiring individuals and giving individuals, you know, jobs, and showing individuals how to, you know, educate themselves, understand financial literacy, and to pursue entrepreneurship programs. The Bible says that you can't serve God, you can't serve you can't serve God and money, right? It says mammoth, right? You know, when Satan took Jesus up on the top of the mountain and let him look at the entire city, and he said that I'll give you all these things if you fall down and worship of me, right? And Jesus told Satan, you know, you're not supposed to tempt your Lord, right? Let me give y'all a better understanding. Satan took Jesus up on this mountain and said, look at all of the city and all of the riches and everything in the world, and I give you these things if you fall down and worship me. Worship has more than one meaning. See, a lot of times y'all see material advantages as succeeding in life. A lot of times y'all see that when you got a nice car, you got a nice clothes, or you get that advancement, or you getting a lot of views and getting a check in now. You see that as being successful and that you have arrived, right? But if you had to sell your soul and sign a contract with the devil to stand up on the stage and dance and show and pull your tail out and show your behind and put on lipstick and buck your eyes out and move and do all the minstrel stuff in order to be successful, then you've only sold yourself. You've only been doing what the forms of worship that a lot of our people and a lot of other individuals have been doing since the beginning of time. See, some of y'all will sell your soul for a jelly roll. When we out here really on the front line, you Black Lives Matter brothers and sisters, understand that the education. Well, I was just talking to a brother about this new topic of race that they're debating, putting off inside the schools right now. And you know what's a trip is that when people fear that they're going to be replaced. Because they're saying that history cannot be taught, that pits one people as oppressors and the other ones as the oppressed. When you avoid the truth, when you avoid confronting the truth and the reality of how things, the chronological orders of how things really have been, then you always stay off inside falsehood, and falsehood always keeps destruction and confusion up. And that's what's going on in our city of Fort Worth right now, man. Y'all have had the wrong people talking for the longest time, man. And some of y'all dudes know dang well that y'all wasn't out there when this city became Fort Worth, man. I know I was on the front line, and anybody who was out there, they know me. I know them. But a lot of you individuals don't have no business talking, and there's nothing to brag about. Living in the conditions that we live, the genocidal conditions that we live, self-destroying ourselves, is nothing to brag about. Going through an addictions is nothing to brag about. Calling yourselves pimps that was out there exploiting our own sisters, putting them out on the curbs, keeping them from their children. And most of those sisters that was out there, they even suffering from mental conditions. It ain't nothing to brag about to go take advantage of somebody who is off inside a lesser state psychologically, that you can speak a little quicker and talk a little faster and you find somebody in a position you exploit. There's nothing to brag about. But these are the things and the experiences that many of us have been through and that the masses of our people are going through right now. Addictions to drugs, whether you popping mollies or you snorting cocaine or whether you are alcoholic or you smoking big weed all day or whatever it may be. Anything that's taking your mind away from the reality of what you live in because you really don't like yourself or your condition or you don't like things that's going on is considered to be an addiction to some type of mind-altering chemical. I love myself. You can get a gallon of piss from me every day. I wouldn't care about it right now. Ain't thinking about ever looking back. Almost 50 years old, loving my grandchildren, loving the way life is going. Praises be to God. But I'm thankful God for everything that I've been through to be off inside this condition. Wouldn't change it for the world. I know some of y'all can't deal with that, but I wouldn't change it for the world. But you ain't gonna hear me talking down on individuals to try to talk up on myself. Because what I do and my works have been given to me by my Creator, and they speak for themselves. I ain't got to talk down on nobody to talk up on me. All you got to do is go back and look at me. Some of y'all who are out here and you have become successful or socially popular for a sound bite or because of something that happened and they caught you on camera doing it and you feel like you the new movement, well then give us some sustainable plans and I'll put a nation behind your sustainable, serious substance-based plans that can change the conditions of what's taking place off inside our communities. Because if y'all continue to keep paying the same people and putting funds into the same programs and keep asking the same individuals that are not doing anything that's going to change anything. Because if they were doing something that was going to change something, then why are we in a state of emergency again right now? It's cool to talk to the kids that sneak out every now and then at night and that cuss every now and then. That's beautiful. We need preventative measures. We need people that have programs that have preventative measures. But I'm trying to help the young brothers that's out there hugging the blocks, the ones that got the pistols, the ones that got the Glocks, the ones that's selling dope, the ones that's on the street corners. I'm trying to help them sisters who then found themselves jumping in and out of cars because they feel like they've lost their souls and they don't have no value. They don't feel like they got no hope. I want to help them sisters. I want to help those brothers that's got needles in their arms, or those sisters that got needles in their arms. I want to help those sisters and those brothers that's living up under those bridges that don't have nothing in life. Those are the type of people that I'm talking about us outreaching to. So it's plenty of y'all who want to work in the preventative measure fields. And I salute y'all. And I thank God that y'all are here. But we need more individuals that are going to go out here in these streets and deal with the people that don't nobody want to deal with. Right now, our streets and our communities are in a state of an emergency. And on top of that, COVID is rising in all 50 states. So while y'all running around here without no mask, thinking that y'all fearless, like y'all bodies can't attract this virus or give it or infect people, that's not the truth. Bride Dog, Carver Park, Dwayne Hendricks, I appreciate y'all coming and bringing that to our attention down here in Texas, man. I didn't mean to get off subject, and I definitely didn't mean to be addressing the circus any longer because real life is taking place. And I got to get Davion, I'm going to hit you in just a minute. I see you just called, young brother. This is serious out here. And those of us who are serious as well, we're really trying to be unified with each other in mind, spirit, and purpose. Emma Lee, thank you for coming out and teaching your yoga, meditation, and nutrition class. Darren Lamb, thank you for coming out and teaching the boxing classes. Miss Tate Hunter, thank you for coming out with Roar, teaching your mentorship classes. Saifullah Il, thank you for coming out and teaching the telecommunications for the brothers. And we're going to continue to keep pushing forward. Right now, I'm quarantined off, man. I'm not feeling well. Going to go get checked. Trying to lay down to see. This is not my first time going through this process. But I will say this. Anything, brother, you have an opportunity and a choice. I don't know. I can't really speak because, I'm one to believe it's inevitable. Whatever type of energy you put out into the universe is going to return to you. No matter who you are, no matter what color you are, no matter how much money you got, no matter what religion you place. Brother, you don't represent us. So I don't know, you can talk about, oh, nigga, you need to stay out the penitentiary. This nigga can't stay out the penitentiary. This nigga selling dope all the time. This nigga smoking dope all the time doing it. I mean, brother, that's clown show. I'm not ashamed. You're not shaming me. I've met some of the most brilliant-minded individuals that I've ever met being off inside prison. There's a lot of people whose families who are applauding and clapping their hands behind you. They got family in prison. They're suffering. I mean, that doesn't hurt me, brother. You ain't gonna see me face to face. You wouldn't even talk like that if you seen me face to face, man. Or any of the people that you talk to. And I'm not saying this in a threatening manner because you are no significant. Hey man, but if you got to pull down your pants and show your behind and put your booty on the screen, if you got to, put on green paint and a dress and you got to jump around and do whatever you got to do so master can be pleased with what you doing, then you do just whatever you doing. But I just want it to be known all across America that this dude, Charleston White, does not represent those of us who've come from the streets of Fort Worth, Texas. Okay? I just needed to say that. And I won't say anything else again unless you would like to sit at a podium with me, brother, and go one-on-one live. Then we can get to the bottom of a whole bunch of stuff at that point in time because you wasn't even talking about gangs until I gave you my book. You wasn't even speaking about any type of gang programs until I gave you my programs, which is what you created your gang program from. And Jesse, you know that too. You was right there, Jesse Taylor. You know that too. So I'm sorry for putting you out there, brother, but you was right there when I was on y'all's program, brother. And you know what your cousin was doing. So anyway, I need it to be known to all you homies out there in Cali This dude who's disrespecting all the tribes and the homies that's died. This dude who's calling this, trying to create tension between Texas and California. He does not speak from us. He's not from amongst us. He's an imposter, a dissenter that was sent in by these people. Do not be fooled and dismayed by the signs of these Tobies in the communities that have platforms. There's a lot of suckers with platforms. Y'all have as we having down here. Y'all know that these informants are infested in our communities. And social media loves to get a clown